Stand up for a second and do the ab move you use to fix your pelvic tilt. If your low back arches or your ribs pop up, that rep is part of the problem. You can train core for months like that and still keep the same low back arch, rib flare, and lower belly pooch. Interior pelvic tilt usually changes faster when you stop chasing ab burn and first deal with hip flexor pull and glute control. I'll show you the quick test, the ab trap that keeps people stuck, the reset to use instead, and the last part is the bit almost nobody gets right. By the end, you'll know whether your APT is mostly a position problem, which ab fixes usually miss it, and what to do before you add more core work. Start here. Some anterior pelvic tilt is normal. The goal is control, not forcing your pelvis perfectly flat. The problem is when your pelvis stays tipped forward all day, low back arched, ribs flared, belt line pushed forward, glutes strangely hard to feel. That usually means the front of your hips is doing too much, and you cannot easily pull the pelvis back under you. If you treat that like a missing crunch problem, you end up chasing zero tilt instead of better control. That is why people spend months trying to fix posture without changing how they actually stand. So do a simple check. Stand side on to a mirror or film it. Squeeze your glutes, tuck your tailbone slightly under, bring your lower ribs down. Now hold that cleaner position for 10 to 20 seconds. If your low back jumps in or you lose it right away, that is your answer. You do not need more random ab reps first. You need to hold the position first. Be honest, when you do leg raises, do you feel abs first or hip flexors first? Now the fake lower ab trap. This is the classic move. More crunches, leg raises, flutter kicks, anything that feels like it hits the lower abs. Here's the problem. Straight leg ab work is mostly a hip flexion job. If you cannot keep the pelvis tucked while your legs move, your hip flexors and low back take over. They pull the front of the pelvis down even more. So the move feels hard, exactly where you want the fix, but you're repeating the same shape you're trying to stop. Research is pretty clear on this one. There is no true lower ab isolation. Those lower ab drills are usually hip flexion drills in disguise. That is why endless leg raises often do nothing for how you stand. The set feels hard, but your standing posture does not change. Very rude, honestly. For now, drop the straight leg stuff. If you want ab work, use dead bug positions, lying on your back with one leg and the opposite arm moving, or hollow style holds. Keep your low back flush the whole rep. Keep the pelvis slightly tucked. If you lose that, the set is done. A lot of people notice that their hip flexors feel tight, so they stretch them. They feel looser for 5 minutes, then stand up looking exactly the same. That happens because the stretch feeling doesn't last on its own. You feel better briefly, then the old position comes back. If your glutes do not actively pull the pelvis back, the front side pull returns to the same resting position. Tight hip flexors are only half the story. The missing half is the back side doing its job. And this part matters more than people think. When your pelvis is set better during ab work, abs do more and the hip flexors do less. So the position changes which muscles carry the rep. Here's the fix.
Pair every hip flexor stretch with a hard glute squeeze and a small tuck. Half kneeling works well. One knee down, 1 foot forward. Squeeze the glute on the rear leg hard, tuck the tailbone under a little, bring the lower ribs down. Hold that for 10 to 20 seconds. Do it a few times through the day. That reset changes more because you are stretching and practicing control at the same time. You are training your body to hold the pelvis in a better position after the stretch. Send this to the friend doing daily lower ab work while their low back still lives in the same arch. Now the part most people skip. Even if you loosen the front and feel the glutes once, your body will drift back unless you repeat the new position on purpose. You've practiced ribs up and pelvis forward for thousands of hours. That is the default. So if you only do one stretch on the floor, then go back to standing, walking, squatting, and hinging the old way, the change does not last. You need to repeat it in standing and in your lifts. Use one cue. Glutes on, tailbone slightly tucked, ribs down. That is the reset. Do it before training and a few times through the day. Then prime lower body sessions with 1 to 2 sets of glute bridges or hip thrusts. On every rep, squeeze the glutes first and keep that tuck. And this is where you get proof that it is not just in your head. After 18 sessions across 6 weeks, people training pelvic balance showed a clear drop in anterior tilt during walking. So yes, a position problem can change when you train the actual driver. If that finally clarified why more core was not changing how your posture looks, this is worth backing. One fair pushback though, core work is not useless. Direct ab work helps after you can hold the position. The real split is simple. Can you already hold a tucked, ribs down pelvis under load? If you can, direct ab work helps. If you cannot, extra volume usually just makes you better at doing ab exercises in the same bad shape. So earn core volume. Pass the control test first. Hold glutes on, ribs down, and a slight posterior tuck for 10 to 20 seconds. Then keep it during dead bugs or supported ab reps. Once that's solid, layer more core work back in. And here is the late bit people miss. Some anterior tilt is normal. In some explosive sports, it's even useful. The goal is not zero tilt. The goal is being able to own neutral when you want it. That's a big difference. You are not trying to stand like a board, you are trying to stop living in one position all day. Over the next few weeks, build this in order. Start with the reset in half kneeling or standing, then use dead bugs that keep the same pelvic position. Then glute bridges or hip thrusts with the tuck. Then carry that into split squats, squats, and hinges without letting the ribs pop up or the low back take over. Join if you want more of these simple breakdowns that strip popular fixes down to what actually changes your body and what only feels productive. If your pelvis keeps living tipped forward, more ab burn is usually not the first answer. First, reduce the front side pull. Add glute-led control that pulls the pelvis back under you. Then build core work on top of a position you can actually hold. The one thing to keep is simple. If you want APT to change, stop leading with endless core work and first train a better position. Glutes on, tailbone slightly tucked, ribs down.